Well, it's hard to even get started on reviewing this review because right off the bat, we're just lying through our teeth. So I'm going to keep things real simple. And I know I get blamed for that sometimes being a little simple here, but sometimes it pays off the Star Wars community, which no doubt about it, whatever you say about Sheev Talks really does officially announce that the vast, vast majority, I mean, over 90% of any and all Star Wars content found online is just filled with a bunch of lying grifters and morons and idiots who don't know anything. And I mean, zero about filmmaking. They have zero experience, zero knowledge. They are just idiots, just grabbing the cash. And to be fair, right? I mean, this is the foundational problem, which is not really the Force Awakens, but George Lucas. I mean, Star Wars has always had a corporate problem. It is working within the major studio system, but for some reason, David Lynch, Martin Scorsese, Kubrick, you go through the list, right? Kurosawa managed to do that, but maintain some kind of artistic integrity, which Lucas did not. I mean, you can only really claim the first film is really an independent production, and since then, it's always been a very compromised product. And this review is no different, doing some severely fake and I mean really radical lying about just the basic production history. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I mean, it is what it is. Since the vast majority of these people are grifters, whatever. At this point, you just say, yeah, whatever. You do you, King. Whatever.
Of the Clone Wars series certainly didn't help matters one bit. That, plus the decision to wipe away the entire expanded universe of books, comics, and video games that had been a staple of the Star Wars mythos since its inception, soured a lot of fans against them right out the gate in what I can only describe to be two massive blunders of epic proportions. Not a great plan. There was the vague idea that we were supposed to be getting a brand new Star Wars movie sometime within the next few years, but I honestly can't say I ever fully allowed myself to believe that. Not even when the teasers and trailers started dropping and the marketing of this film was everywhere. Because the prequels had been coming out when I was still but a wee lad, so for all intents and purposes, those movies were just as much a constant in the Star Wars canon to me as the original trilogy.
But where to even begin? First of all, that's a lie. That this even matters because Lucas, and to put it mildly, he was never entirely consistent, but Lucas has said, for the most part, what is canon. What is canon are, to him, the six films. He does sometimes not stay consistent and say, oh, it's the six films and the Clone Wars, presumably the seasons he supervised. But let's actually try to be honest here. It would be the six films. Anything outside the six films has never been canonical. Now, have they made consistency there? No, because Lucas, being Lucas and a capitalist, happily plucked from the EU to build up the prequels, right? And I've gotten, to put it mildly, very contradictory research on exactly how he felt about the EU. So we're like, he didn't like the EU, he didn't care about it. But then others like, no, he did praise parts of it. What's ironic here is that the so-called Star Wars experts say he would never agree to have Palpatine come back in the ninth film, but then you're like, apparently that storyline is something he actually thought was a good idea in the EU, but not the film series. So yeah, that's just where we are. It's just a very corrupt commercial product, and Lucas will just change his mind about everything. But with the EU, he has it over and over again. Yeah, that's their thing. That's what Dave and the others play with. I don't really care about that. The main goal is don't contradict my main story. The main story is what matters, and that's all there is to it. It's like, okay, fine. So I'm not sure what he's talking about. He's also not even getting the dates correct. It's like what they did is they announced and they got rid of my beautiful EU. That wouldn't matter canonically. And this is the person who keeps bringing up the canon. That does not matter because Lucas himself pronounced the canon does not matter with the EU. Now, has he been entirely consistent or truthful? No. Then has Sheev Talks been entirely consistent or truthful? No. So, par for the course. Lucas is a sellout hack, and so is Sheev Talks. So you really can't trust Lucas, but good or bad, he did actually make Star Wars. Sheev Talks did not, so does he have any real insider knowledge here? Not that I'm aware of, so he's just lying or he's just stupid. And that's most of his reviews. He's just stupid and or lying simultaneously. Well, let's proceed to maybe get somewhere close to doing real analysis?
It's one of the most broken scripts I've ever seen, and I'm not going to mince words about it. The damage this film did to the overall Star Wars canon and brand cannot be overstated. It had lasting effects that have rippled throughout the franchise in cataclysmic ways, and is still affecting it to this day. This is a bad film, but god damn it, I just love it so much, and there's really nothing I can do about that, because I was still pretty young when Force Awakens came out, and like I said, the sheer novelty that we were getting another Star Wars movie was just so exciting to 14-year-old me. The hype surrounding this movie was unreal, and unlike anything I've ever seen before or since. And the hype it generated for the next 2 years leading up to The Last Jedi was something that I wish I could go back to. I miss when it was exciting to be a Star Wars fan. I miss how fun it was to speculate and theorize over every little detail in the trailers, and the nostalgia that I feel for that time means.
Well, it's time to hit the punchline here. Okay, I've been saying a lot of harsh things to our Chief Talks. Why? Well, let's see. So he thinks The Force Awakens is one of the worst films of all time, one of the worst scripts of all time. I really wish he and his friends stopped using the word script. I don't think they know what a script is. I don't think they have any clue, frankly, what a real Hollywood script is. Apparently, they think it's a magical one script that exists in some weird alternate universe where, yeah, yeah, it's a magical script. You just touch it, everything's there. That's not how scripts work in Hollywood. How are real Hollywood films made? He doesn't know. He'll never know. But okay, we'll put that aside. And I hate to do the trust me bro thing. I mean, it's not like we have no ability to verify this, but basically, Chief Fox put out a review of Rise of Skywalker and considered that a really great film. Really, really great. But then, because the fandom turned against it, he did what Star Wars Theory did and hid or destroyed the review. But Theory was a really, really big YouTuber, so him lying about the sequel trilogy has been documented. In fact, Sheev Talk's friends have documented some of the lying that Star Wars Theory has done. There you go. Become a big YouTuber, a lot of your lies are going to get exposed. And ever since then, Star Wars Theory has been trying to get closer and closer to becoming a neo fascist, right wing moron, kissing up to nerdrotic, smaller, critical drinker. So I can't say Sheep Talks is as bad as that, but we end up in the same place. He put out a review praising The Rise of Skywalker as a really good and great film and just incredible storytelling, right? I remember that review clearly, and then it just magically disappeared. It just disappeared from his YouTube channel. It just went away. And now he's like, oh my god, The Rise of Skywalker is the worst film of all time. Oh my god. And of course, the defense of these people who are grifters is that, well, you know, things evolve in his mind. He changed his mind. Okay, well, if you're just going to change your mind, who cares? They're saying, you know, The Force Awakens is one of the worst things of all times. Okay, well, maybe he's going to change his mind and say it's one of the best things of all time. And there you go. We can all change our mind, guys. We can just change our minds about film. So any quote real opinion you have about a film doesn't mean anything. It's not really solid, right? It just goes where the trends go. There you go. The trends are, hey, Andor's a great thing. Oh, okay, Andor's great, says Sheev Talks. Wow, do you have any opinion of your own? No, that's not the point. Just stay with the consensus, spout the consensus, and make money. Like, all right, fine. But you can't really take these opinions seriously. You just really can't. Right? So it's like, all right, whatever. And Sheep Talk said that's one of the worst of all times. Oh, okay. Right. I don't take his opinions very seriously. And neither should you. And that's about it. But let me at least try to give the review a chance to say why he thinks it's so bad. I mean, again, we should not care, but okay, let's at least officially state for the record what is he saying.
The most inoffensive starting point to the new era, this movie managed to destroy basically every aspect of what made the original movie so great, undoing and undermining them at every turn, and the next two films could only really follow up the broken foundation. So with that in mind, we've got some housekeeping to do and some ground rules to lay. Like I said a minute ago, when it comes to the prequel trilogy, I've always had trouble separating it as anything other than a natural continuation of the canon. Because of how formative they were to my understanding of Star Wars, it's really hard to imagine this series without them, try as I might for the sake of reviewing them objectively.
Sorry for the mangling, but I needed to get that objectively line in. Well, these reviews are proof. Well, I don't even know where to begin. The person says, "In my mind, the people was like this." Yeah, so is his brain this objective cosmic rod that measures everything objectively in the universe? No. So you're just saying, in your opinion, from your perspective, this is the case and that is the case. right? I'm not going to bother with the high philosophy talk, but I could. I could even do it in the original German. Like, this all comes from Nietzsche, right? We've been puzzling over this for centuries, namely, well, we definitely do have some objective set of facts, right, in physics, but beyond that, nothing matters, right? It's all up to interpretation, right? Now, Nietzsche was really troubled with this. If everything is up to interpretation, everything is up to interpretation, right? Can we have anything rock solid beyond that? He thought we could, but then he went crazy. But he thought he could lay some kind of foundation for human beings. But ever since then, we're stuck. We don't quite know what is objectivity beyond physics. It just doesn't seem to exist. But let's go with him, right? Because he does use this word a lot. Logic. Okay, so logically, there's an objective logics to the objectivities of him. Okay, well, I'm pretty sure when it comes to the Rise of Skywalker, he's going to say it's really, really bad. But once upon a time, he said it was really, really good. So A is good and A is bad. But A cannot be good and bad simultaneously. So which is it? It doesn't matter. So why then invoke logic or objectivity? Money, right? It's just a money thing. I mean, he's not as bad as Mahler. Like, remember the Mahler? Remember Mahler? He was the long man. He was the long man. But now his reviews are about what, 2 hours, an hour? Even I would think, I am not joking on the EFAP called mini EFAPs. So now we have the long, short guy. Does that make any sense? Not really. Does it matter? Nope. It's all about cashing in. So I will be patient and try to give the review a chance. But yeah, I don't know about the Star Wars whatever foundations because these grifters don't seem to know what foundations mean either. But it's like, okay, whatever. I mean, my own gut reaction to The Force Awakens is it was an above average film when it was released. It's still an above average film. It's not a terrible film. It's not a bad film. Is it a great film? No, but unfortunately, Star Wars being what it is, it probably is in the upper tier of the films. It says more about George Lucas than anything else. But you know, JJ delivered a good film, but it does have insane amount of flaws. Did it destroy everything in storytelling or Star? No, no. It's just it's above average film. It's much better than say Attack of the Clones, much better than the Rise of Skywalker, but it's not in the territory of the really controversial, but possibly masterworks like Last Jedi, right? The Empire Strikes Back, Phantom Menace, or even the first film, which for all its flaws, at least because Lucas didn't have the money, does have a little bit of charm, right? I mean, Star Wars is always going to be a very flawed set of constructs, but the first film did try some really interesting experimental things, and it is what it is. JJ really didn't understand that, so we don't get the really experimental flavor of Star Wars. But then Sheev Talks didn't notice that either, so there you go. So it's the blind leading the blind, and there we are.